A Humboldt penguin named Heathcliff stepping on the scale. Weight 4.25 kilograms, a little over 9 pounds. Credit Zoological Society of London. How do you get an emperor scorpion to hop up onto a scale to peer at its weight, or persuade a yawning Asiatic lioness to stand still for a minute so that you can take her measurements? At the London Zoo, they do it very carefully, with patience, skills and bribes. Mark Habban, the head of zoological management at the Zoological Society of London, said on Friday that 70 keepers had begun just such an undertaking the day before the zoo's annual weigh-in. Armed with giant rulers, big and little scales, along with the animal's favorite food, they are measuring, weighing and counting most of the 750 species in care of the zoo. Because the zoo has about 20,000 animals, he said in a phone interview, this will go on for the next couple of weeks. An emperor scorpion. Credit Zoological Society of London. Keepers are taking the vital statistics of the smallest primates, the pygmy marmosets, the towering creatures, the giraffes, and the many animals in between: gorillas, squirrel monkeys, penguins and ants, to name a few. Just how do you get a scorpion on the scale? Apparently by first dropping it in a plastic container. And to measure a lion, you dangle something, meat, a bag, to tempt it to reach high into the air. The goal of all this weighing and measuring and counting is not only to gauge their health and well-being, it's also to make sure we care for our animals by feeding them the correct food, the society says. With such valuable information, one may learn at another zoo, for instance, that a corn snake named Sausage can eat one mouse every 10 days. That's the same amount that Ebenezer, a royal python, swallows, except every 21 days. Frodo and Frida, White's tree frogs 20 crickets every 3 days. The annual weigh-in at the London Zoo also lets the keepers figure out if any of the animals are pregnant, Mr. Habban said. A parrot stands still to be weighed at the London Zoo. Credit Zoological Society of London. The information collected will be entered into a database, the Zoological Information Management System, and shared with zoos around the world, to compare important data on endangered species. The lightest creature weighed at the London Zoo so far is the leaf-cutter ant, whose weight is measured in micrograms, Mr. Habban said. That insect came in at 5 micrograms on average. The giraffe was the heaviest to weigh, he said. For that, the zoo uses a specially built scale. In the case of a giraffe named Eliza, whose true weight is no one's business but her own, it can be revealed only that she weighs between 800 and 850 kilograms, about 1,764 to 1,874 pounds. A giraffe gets measured at the London Zoo. Credit Zoological Society of London. Zoo periodically takes the measure of some animals on a monthly basis, but the annual weigh-in is more expansive. For strategic reasons, the keepers begin at a set point, often at feeding time. According to the Society, which works on the worldwide conservation of animals and their habitats, a range of techniques are used, from training the sea lions to hold their flippers up to be measured, to tempting the brightly feathered macaw and the scaly python onto the weighboard with some of their favorite treats. In this weigh-in, Mr. Habban said, the zoo is prioritizing newborns. The penguins, for instance, had quite a productive breeding season this year, he said. They're also homing in on some important species. We try to go at the key species to correlate dietary changes, growth, he said. A lion reaches for a bag, and gets measured, on Thursday, the first day of the annual weigh-in at the zoo in London. Credit Andy Rain. European press photo agency. So far, a penguin named Heathcliff came in at 4.25 kilograms, and the pygmy goats Bramble, Polly and Ellie, tipped the scales at 21.5 kilograms, 19.7 kilograms and 15.8 kilogram. You would think that, given its height and weight, the giraffe would be the hardest animal to weigh. But you would be wrong. Yes, it does need an extremely large set of scales, and must be maneuvered onto a platform, Mr. Habban said. But when it comes down to which animal is the trickiest to weigh, he said, laughing, the fish are pretty difficult, as you can imagine. So the zoo just doesn't bother, we just measure and count them. A squirrel monkey. They aren't easy to weigh, the London Zoo said. For them, it's a game. Credit Andy Rain. European press photo agency. Then there are the aptly named squirrel monkeys. For one thing, they are spread across 16 large enclosures. And some have had babies too, to be precise. And for another, they live up to their names. Yeah, I'll have 8 or 9 of them trying to jump on the scales, he said. They're more interested in playing. They're pretty cheeky. A male gorilla named Kumbuka inspects a giant ruler during the weigh-in on Thursday. Credit Andy Rain. European press photo agency. Weigh-ins are taking place during visiting hours, he said. And Friday was an especially good day to be at the London Zoo. It was an opportunity for visitors to gawk but pretend that everything was oh so normal. There's a goat, stepping on a scale. And that gorilla, it's sidling up to a giant measuring board. Nothing to see here. Nothing much at all. A pygmy goat named Ellie. Credit Zoological Society of London.